Welcome to Beyond the Press Release, our production of Gorecom, in which we take the time to speak with small cap executives after they put out important news. With us today, happy to have him back, David Luxton, Executive Chairman at KWESST Micro Systems, trades on the TSX Venture Exchange under the stock symbol KWE. For those new to the story, KWESST has had great success in about the 8 months or so that it's been listed. It's doing great things. What they are, so you know, is a leader in defense technologies, okay? So it's not ammunition, it's not warfare, defense technologies that increase the capabilities of soldiers, including those of NATO and its allies. These technologies make a difference, a critical difference to soldier safety and effectiveness. So that's why they develop these next generation systems for forces around the world. More than just lip service, their leadership team spans decades of experience, hundreds of millions of dollars in military and homeland security contracts. Partners include globally recognized OEMs, original equipment manufacturers, including the likes of Samsung, where they are recently upgraded to Samsung's USA partner status. Whole bunch more going on, but the other thing you need to know, the secret weapon, pardon the pun, is David himself. He's a recognized entrepreneur in the defense and security industry, and companies under his leadership have generated over $1 billion in sales. Here to talk about today's press release. Welcome back.
Hey, great to be here. Thank you.
I'm glad we have you because today's press release sounds monumental, but at the same time needs your expertise to help us walk it through. So let me give you the headline for everyone at home. I know you know the headline. KWESST completes successful integration of TSX IFM for 81 millimeter mortar into ATAC for a key U.S. military customer. So clearly sounds important. I love the fact that it ends with for a key U.S. military customer because that's important. And you actually say in this press release, it's a key milestone in digitization of the modern army. So in layman's terms, David, what have you guys accomplished today? Why is this such a big milestone?
Well, yeah, let's pick it up from just what you said, George, the digitization of the modern army. So the core technology that KWESST has and the core products that is bringing to market do exactly that. You know, the age that we're in is one where NATO countries and NATO nation partner countries and others beyond that are all trying to upgrade the capability of their ground forces. And they're trying to do that primarily by what they call the digitization of those forces, which really is another way of saying by providing them networked information and networked capability at what they call the tactical edge, right to the soldier on the ground, right, who's facing the adversary. And so what KWEST's task system does, that stands for tactical and situational command system, is that it is the tool set that will push out situational awareness to soldiers right onto their smart device, and they all have them. And it goes further than that. It can clip this on with a little neat interface to their weapon systems. And now their weapon systems are all networked and they're all seeing what the soldiers are seeing, including where the adversaries are. Now, that's great, but applications like this have to be able to work inside the broader systems architecture that's used by the US and NATO countries. And the really
like any great software, right? Like any great software, you need to be compatible.
You need to be compatible. And the key software here or system is called ATAC. Doesn't mean attack, but it stands for Android Tactical Assault Kit. And this is a key system that NATO countries are either using or they are in the process of migrating towards. And so what KWESST accomplished in the first phase of this contract announced today is the integration of its task system by using its task system, really like a tool set. It's been able to incorporate its application for, in this case, 81 millimeter mortars.
And what are those, by the way, David, just so we don't take for granted, what is an 81? Is this those mortars that you see when they drop it in? And
just like in the movies.
Right. Okay.
And that's a big installed base. They've been around forever. And actually what the task system does with this little snap-on unit that goes on the mortar is it turns that into a smart weapon system. And these are real workhorse weapons, mortars and grenade launchers and mortars in many different calibers for that matter. And what this does is it allows the soldier to deploy that weapon by staying further back and behind cover so they're safer. And it really just becomes a video game. And younger soldiers get this intuitively. They put the cursor right on where the target is. They can all see the same picture, the same landscape on the ground, where each other's weapons are, who's picking off what targets, and just fire and forget. And away it goes. And now you are putting, in this case, mortar rounds onto adversaries' positions with unprecedented precision.
And by the way, there might be people at home watching this or listening on podcasts and saying, well, I don't know. That doesn't sound so unique. Whenever I watch the movies, it sounds like they got this thing all figured out. So what's KWESST doing here that's really special? But the fact of the matter is, you have all that digitization, I would assume, back at command centers, control centers, but on the field, it's not like that, despite what the movies tell us. It's you don't have the full digitization going on yet.
Yeah, that's exactly right. You would believe it's happening because you see it in the movies.
Right.
That's just in the movies. But it is available now. This is what's unique that KWESST has brought to market. And the ability to have it operate inside this larger software system called Battlefield Management Application Software. And the brand version of this of preference now is ATAC. That's a big deal to have that working inside of that. And it's led to something that we hadn't anticipated, that it's a bit of a trick to be able to make that happen, make that work. And out of the woodwork, we've had a lot of inbound inquiries from other agencies and from other OEMs who are all trying to make their applications work inside ATAC. And so we started to do some work like that for others. And it's early days, but it's looking like this could actually become another and significant business practice for
But
KWESST.
before we even talk about others, though, the headline says for key U.S. military customers. So you've got someone, and I know you can't divulge who, but you've got a key U.S. military customer already, it looks like, interested in this, correct?
Well, deploying it now into military exercises right under a contract we announced in December. And that in itself was another very significant milestone in advancing the task system into service. So this is not theoretical, it's real, it exists today, it's ready for market. It is, as you say, a very important household name military customer that's using it. And very important that we've now been able to make the system work inside their ATAC battlefield management software.
How big is the market for, you would think, the 81 millimeter mortar, how big that, but that's got to be a big market. But can you tell us all, potentially what the addressable market is for KWESST
Yeah,
just on this application alone?
by our estimates and from information from customers, just this one application of tasks on just the 81 millimeter mortar, we think that's worth up to $120 million in the US. But then on
Wow.
top of that, there are all of the other firing platforms, like 60 millimeter mortars, grenade launchers, heavy machine guns, and on and on. And we went deliberately into this because of the size of that market on a global basis. And it's very, very significant. And so that's one of the markets KWESST is going after with its signature product. And as you know, there are other markets it's going after with its other products as well. But today, the story really is the significance of being able to offer up the KWESST systems that work inside ATAC. Probably Greek to a lot of investors and the general public.
That's why you're here.
Very, very meaningful to the industry and to end users.
Well,
And
it sounds like you are now you are now compatible with the main operating system for
that's it.
military and defense around the world at the end of the day, right? It's like, it's almost, if we're to use this in software terms that people at home can understand, I would assume, correct me if I'm wrong, that ATAC would be similar to you saying we're now compatible with Apple's iPhone operating system. And as a result, any vendor around the world can now incorporate our, world first product into their, into their worlds. Would that be kind of like a
That,
decent?
that's a great analogy. It's a great analogy. And in the case of the military, you can't just offer up an app and say anybody can now use it. You have to be invited to develop it, first of all, for the military, and then they have to approve it for use inside ATAC. And so it's a bridge further when you're doing this for the military versus doing an app for an iPhone. But it's a great
Oh, yeah,
analogy.
yeah, yeah. I just want to make sure put into terms that people at home understood.
Right.
Uh, you know, I want the overall analogy more something not precise. Yeah, I mean this is almost a B2B world, right? This is not a B2C world where you can just put anything out there for people. But so when you say in the press release, the tasks IFM fire control system for the 81 millimeter mortar is a world first in digitizing the function of a mortar team from the identification of the target to the aiming of the mortar. I mean,
Yeah.
that's a big statement. What kind of response are you getting? You kind of alluded to that earlier. You've been getting calls and interest. What kind of response are you getting from the market, from your target market potential customers out there?
Well, our target market is already well aware of the work we're doing with this major US military customer, and that's been the catalyst for an awful lot of inbound interest. And so we're addressing all of that in due course and expecting to convert a lot of these opportunities that are filling the sales pipeline into revenue. And so this is not news to the industry per se. The incorporation of it into ATAC is news. And if I can unbundle that long mouthful we had about what it's doing with indirect fire systems for mortars, it's really not more complicated than this. Mortar systems are part of the workhorse inventory of weapons amongst militaries everywhere in different calibers, and as well as grenade launchers, for example. So this stuff's been around forever, but it's pretty crude. Its sighting is crude and complicated, and so what the task system does, in all of those words you just recited, is very simply it takes this old iron sights system of a traditional but important workhorse weapon, brings it right into the modern age by digitizing
That's
how to fire
amazing.
it. No modification to the weapon, no modification to the ammunition. That's huge for customers. And so now it goes from being a dumb weapon platform to being a smart, weapon platform for the modern digitization age of ground forces.
So next steps with the U.S. With the U.S. military customer, it says here, as a result, the company will now proceed to the next phase of the contract involving live fire trials at various U.S. military bases. So a couple of questions there. First, when do these take place? How long will they be taking place for? And then second, if all goes well, I'm presuming the results of those live fire trials will also go out to your potential customers so that you can tell them, hey, we've had success. So you can not only move forward with just this U.S. military customer, but with other customers as well.
Yep. So that those live fire exercises begin next month, and all of them should be complete within the fiscal year. And it really will be up to the customer we're doing this for, in this case, to tell us how far afield we can spread the information to others, and they're certainly usually more than happy to allow that information to be shared with friendly forces, and often it's them themselves who will be sharing that information.
So given you said earlier, you just said it'll continue through to the end of the fiscal year.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe you can, as opposed to calendar year. I'm assuming there's a reason why I made that distinction. So if it starts next month, when do you think the live fire trials will end?
Well, and unless there's any interruptions to the schedule, our expectation is that will be done by the end of the fiscal year. the U.S. government fiscal year is the 30th of September, as is
Okay.
ours, in order to align with that. Yeah.
All right. Yeah, none of us knew that. So that's why I want to get clarification. Like, okay, when is the end of this fiscal year? Because it's not calendar. So, all right. And if it goes well, what's your understanding with what's the status of your relationship with the U.S. military customer right now? Is this one of those almost conditional contracts where if all goes well, you expect to get an order, or is it one, or is it just good old fashioned? Keep moving the ball forward, keep moving it along, and if everything goes well, you're hoping for a real successful conclusion. I guess at the end of the day, there's no competition, so it's really going to come down to a go no go.
Yeah, well, this really is a world first. We don't know of anything else like it in the world, and from what we've heard from various customers, no one else seems to know of anything else like it in the world. So it's a favorable situation for Quest today, but we can't predict what the future will bring. But we certainly have been doing well in advancing this product with this customer. As a lot of other eyes have been on it, we know. And upon the successful completion of this contract, we would certainly hope for next stage where the customer takes the next step in trying to create a program around this, right, so that they can pursue wider adoption throughout the service.
In the meantime, David, are you guys going to start? I'm assuming you guys are actively working your network, which as we've discussed before, you guys have an incredible Rolodex there between you and the rest of the team, and the tentacles you have all over the planet. I'm assuming you're not just waiting for the live fire trials, or maybe you are. What's the status of business development on this specific product in the meantime?
Well, we certainly have an awful lot of inbound interest, right? And we have briefings with military groups happening at an accelerating pace over in the very, very near term. And a lot of that has been in response to inbound interest and their awareness of the work that's been done with this key U.S. military client. And a lot of it is in response as well to some quiet promotion we've done out there, putting out what are called white papers and explanatory information on how the various products work, but in particular the task system, because that is the signature product. It's kind of the hub at the spoke of the wagon wheel, if you like. So we have right now a fire hose of opportunities we're drinking from, and we're trying to triage that right into the more important ones we should action first, which falls into the category of a good problem to have.
Took the words right out of my mouth. I was about to say that. Let's end off on this. For people who are new to the Quest story, you guys aren't a one-trick pony. You've got an incredible array of products. My favorite one is the Phantom electronic decoy system. I love that one where I'm a soldier and it gives a digital signature that I could be in multiple places. And I've actually asked if husbands could buy this technology. So if the wives are looking for them around the house, it's got a different decoy around the house. Can't quite find us to get to do work, but you've got great technology out there. How's the rest? And this would be more just a general, summary, but how's the rest of the business going? The rest of the products that because you guys are cutting edge everywhere.
Yeah, so we do exploit our proprietary technology, the stuff that's under the hood, to apply to other products that are at what we call again the tactical edge, and really that just means the warfighter on the ground, and it's all part of the digitization, right, of the modern land force. And the example you gave of the Phantom electronic decoy is just another part of digitization, right, of modern forces. Yeah, so up until now, enemy forces, adversaries could find out where you are because they'll detect your electronic signature.
Yeah.
And the Phantom system just acts as a decoy, as you say, to make it look like you're everywhere. And so it's hard to know where you actually are. Provides a great measure of safety to soldiers on the ground that are engaged in an operation. And I don't know if we'll be coming out with a Christmas version of it for, husbands, but right now we have our hands full just servicing the military market. And all of the products that you see on the website really fit in that same kind of cluster of things that are aimed at the digitization of the modern land force.
You'll be great on the next interview we should do. We should do it sooner than later. I think it'd be great to go through just a review, do a screen share where you have a presentation open and just go through some of these really amazing. I know we're having a little fun with it, but truly these are really amazing products that are incredibly innovative in any hardware software environment, let alone in the military. And I think that would drive the point even further home about how KWESST is truly a market leader in these soldier safety systems, and more people are realizing that.
Yeah, well, it's serious business that makes a life and death difference, right, to people on the ground. And that's where 90% of the casualties are taken in a conflict. So we're very focused on supporting that mission.
David, congratulations to you and obviously the entire team. You're not a one-man show there, but the entire team on this really great milestone, the digitization of the modern Army, and the world first in digitizing the function of a mortar team. Fantastic. Great that it's coming from a small cap company, because it just proves again how small cap technology companies are going to be so disruptive this decade. And a lot of us think about artificial intelligence and retail and social media, but it also applies right inside the military. And it's great for shareholders to have an option in KWESST for this specific vertical and massive vertical. You've been watching or you've been listening by podcast to David Luxton, Executive Chairman of KWESST Micro Systems, trades on the TSX Venture Exchange on the stock symbol KWE. For those who are new to the story, new people coming all the time. They've had great success since their IPO last summer. Do your due diligence, start off at Agoracom, go to the KWESST profile page there. We've got all of this laid out neatly for you in summary form, but a really good overview of the company, its customers, its products, all of that to get a really good 30,000 foot understanding. And then from there, link over the KWESST site to do an even deeper dive and hopefully discover your next great small cap company. Thanks for joining us. Have a great day. See you next time.